Welcome to Developing for Elementary OS, Episode 1, The Basic Setup. In this episode, we're going to cover creating a Launchpad account, installing Bazaar, and connecting it with Launchpad. We're going to cover the tooling, which will be Scratch and Terminal, and we're going to download the developer SDKs. Of course, all of this information, if you wanted to follow along with the documentation from the official Elementary IO website, can be found here. And this is the section that we're covering currently. So let's get back into it. First thing we need to do is create a Launchpad account. So we're going to go to the launchpad.net site. We're going to click on Login, Register in the top right hand corner. We're going to select I'm a new Ubuntu user, and we're going to enter the information and click Create an account. So we'll make a new tab and we'll go to launchpad.net. And in the top right hand corner you'll see Login, Register. We'll click on that. And I already have an account, but if you are new to Ubuntu One, you would select I'm a new user, and you'd fill in your full name, username, and password, and agree to the terms of service. And then you would create an account. And then once your account was approved, you would be presented with your Launchpad page. So the next thing we're going to do is install Bazaar and connect it with Launchpad. So we're going to open up a terminal and we're going to enter the command sudo apt install Bazaar and open SSH client. These are two things that we're going to need. Chances are open an SSH client is already installed, but we'll go through the exercise anyway. And then after that, we're going to generate a new RSA key. And then we're going to use the Scratch text editor to copy that RSA key and import that public key into Launchpad. And then we're going to get our Launchpad ID, and we're going to connect Bazaar to Launchpad with the command as seen there. So first thing we'll do is we'll open up a terminal. First thing you'll notice is I use Gnome Terminal. I don't use the Pantheon Terminal. So your terminal window may look a little bit different than mine. So we will sudo apt install, and we'll install Bazaar and open SSH client. Authenticate, and our packages are installed. So then the next thing we want to do is create a new key, so we'll type in the command ssh keygen, and we'll use the capital C for comment. So the type of comment that we put in here is required for Launchpad. And so this comment has to follow the form RSA key and BZR, and then that'll be type RSA, and it'll ask us where to put this file. I don't have any other RSA keys named ID_RSA, so this location is fine, so I'll just hit enter. It'll ask for a passphrase. I'm not going to add a passphrase, but it's probably recommended that you do. And so I just hit enter twice. And now we are going to use the Scratch editor to open up this RSA key and copy the contents. So we'll use Scratch and the location of that RSA key will be your root folder. So you use the little squiggly there, and then .ssh, and then it'll be idrsa.pub. And so we'll Control A and Control C the contents of that, so it's copied to our clipboard. And then we're going to go into Launchpad, and I have never added a key, so bear with me while I explore and try and find the keys. So we find the SSH key link in the middle, we click the plus button, and here we can Control V and import our public key, and we now have a public key added. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is go to our Launchpad page to get our Launchpad ID, and that may take me a bit to find again. Okay, that's my Launchpad ID. Alright, so we have that. We'll go back to terminal, and we'll enter the command bzr launchpad login CAGP in my case. Wait for that to think. And it looks like it's done. Okay, so we have completed that portion. So let's close off that. We'll close off our... Okay, so that section is done. The tooling. So next we're going to talk about Scratch and Terminal and Scratch with Terminal. So if we open up the Scratch editor, you are presented with this editor, and you can see that there's a couple of different panels open, and if you go to the preferences, you can choose sort of what your interface looks like, you know, whether you have highlighting of the current line, highlighting matching brackets, line wrap turned on or off, whether you have the spaces drawn with little dots. That tends to be a bit confusing for video, so I'll leave that off. Show or hide the line numbers. There's a mini-map on the side that's very much like a Sublime text feature. And there's a line guide that I've got turned on. A couple of different themes. By default it's solarized light. I like to give it solarized dark. There is also a number of extensions that you can use, such as a file manager, folder manager, highlighting the selected words, outline, which is nice to show you your class outlines when you're writing Vala code, and various other tips and tricks. There's also this extension here, which allows you to have a terminal embedded into your Scratch session, which is a very nice feature. So I will close that. So I'll just show you that right now. So you have a terminal window that is embedded right into your Scratch session. You can put it on the right, or you can put it on the bottom. And this to me seems to be a more sensible way to develop, having your terminal attached. It's the way I develop typically when I'm using Vim with a multiplexer. So I'd highly recommend that you develop this way. However, the documentation does suggest having a terminal window available, as well as your Scratch session. So in such cases, I might recommend putting one window on one side and one on the other, or perhaps even putting one on the top and one on the bottom, if I could do that, which I can't seem to do. But you get the idea. To me, this, juggling around various windows is kind of a pain in the butt. So going forward, I will just be showing you using the terminal as it is attached to the bottom. And that's pretty much it as far as your IDE is concerned. There is no official IDE currently. There is GNOME Builder, which I have not used, but I have not been persuaded to do so, given the remarks that I've seen about it. It's not exactly easy to use, and I'm always in favor of a lightweight text editor anyhow. So that's it. These are your two main pieces of tooling that you're going to use throughout the rest of the course. Okay, last thing we need to do is get the rest of the development libraries, and we will do that with the terminal, and we'll use sudo apt install elementary SDK. And in fact, we can just use this terminal that's already open for us. So we just need to sudo apt install and elementary SDK. I've already done this, so you're not going to see a whole lot come down. But if you have not done this as of yet, this may take a minute or two to download all the dependencies. But for me, there's nothing left to add. So anyway, that is it. In the next installment, we'll cover making our very first Hello World application. Hope you are looking forward to that, and we'll see you then.